Morning. I I looked up and all of a sudden the chat's just lit up because you guys chatting back and forth quick. An emergency water leak. Is there a kind of a water leak that's not an emergency? So shows the prime suspect. My theory is it could be anything anyway. Yeah, water's tricky like that, right? Oh, awesome. That could be messy. Yeah. It's only leaking through the walls now, it's fine. Joy. Okay, that's not risk showing that. That okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, water leaks the sort of thing I get on pretty quickly because the damage you see is likely the result of way more damage. Okay. Yeah, water can do that to you. Well, back to streaming. Um, I'm back for a day, and then I'm not streaming tomorrow because I have a doctor's appointment. Um, that I completely forgot about last week. But basically, I know three people had water leaks last year, and I'm like, what are the signs? Depends on where. Yeah, if the water's mounting up in the ceiling, if it's in a wall, you look for stains in the sheetrock. Um, lose water pressure. That can be a water leak. There's all sorts of things that can come from. Yeah, but I mean, depends on what the pipes are made of. Depends on how the plumbing's done. There's all sorts of stuff. One line, 11 months. Thank you very much. Let's keep a good thing going. I certainly intend to. Okay, so where am I going to start today? I realized that I am not really keeping a track of um, where I want to be and where I am with Liquid Sky. So I have to remember to stop development 5 or so minutes earlier and make some notes of what I plan for next stream because I'm breaking them up in. Obviously, if I stream on Friday and I'm streaming on Monday, that's okay. But if I take a week off or I stream on Monday and I stream on Friday, there's 3 whole days in between doing other stuff. It's going to trip me up. I don't want to move back to the Monday, Tuesday like I did with the game stuff for a while. Monday, Tuesday do that, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday do the Liquid Sky. I'm happy breaking it up this way. I just got to remember to take some time at the end and do it. So, no, we're not getting into another thing. We almost had another stream project yesterday, but I decided I wanted to do it off stream. Not game dev, game library. So last week we built the client and the server adapters. Um, nice. Um, And what I've just done is I went into the client and I created an on-client page and I put streamer cards in the on-client. And then I started it up. And I think, yeah, here. So if I go to now /on-client, I go to on-client and I still see the cards, right? So, yep, no worries, Delta. So I have both so they have the client version running in here, and then the server version running in here. So I think that proves that I'm using, so actually, I can validate that, can't I? So if I go to this version and then go to on client, I should see a call, right? How does it work? Why do I see no data there? PSD guy, welcome in. How you doing? Does that not work the way I think it works? So I'm just trying to wire things up in a way that I understand them, right? So the client, there is no API version. Thank you for the support. Appreciate it. So how does that get wired up then? I could not sleep for staying awake. The crash incoming. So that doesn't work the way I think it works. Is that because it's running off the server? But if I built a web client, it would. How does that work? Because this one, I configure that. As if it runs that version, that works. But otherwise, these URLs work with the server versions of themselves. So you only need to, so you don't need to build out the pages twice. You need to make sure the components can take So is that a targeting thing? What determines whether I use the server version or the client version? I suppose that's hosted in that right now. I'm not using the client, am I? But there's no layout on here. Okay. So we've got a few things to tackle today. One, get my head around this piece. Layout isn't client. Get my head around this piece. Understand the difference between what web client and web is. What I thought was true is not necessarily true. It's not like you get two versions of it. It runs in one way, which suggests that you have to build it and target a specific type. So if I'm hosting it somewhere, if I'm embedding it somewhere, then I use this or whatever. But anyway, it looks like right now I can worry about building it in here as long as I build all the components to be agnostic, and then I can worry about that later. So, but it would be nice to understand. The next thing would be to figure out how we're going to get people logged into this system, right? So my intention is I want to allow you to sign up and then link your Twitch or your YouTube accounts, and that will register the actual streams. Um, like I can play around with all this, I can play around with tags, etc. But unless I get the fundamentals of the application working, then it's really not worth anything. So yeah, so let's take that back for right this second. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna panic about that piece. I don't need to worry about it. Now I know that it will still call the server version when it's built like this. So it doesn't matter where I put the pages, just that it works. So we have streamer cards. Roll back that. Okay. Hmm. Don't. Not a fan of rolling our own identity, but in the same, I'm not a fan. Gotcha. So, um, insight into this. I am a .NET developer. I've been a .NET developer for a long time. I do not use a lot of Razor. I do not use Aspire. So this is kind of a project that combines those things and gives me the chance to share this as an open source project, and people will be able to contribute if they want to the entire project. So I'm going to rely upon some assistance and hints from time to time to give me the insights into that. So I get okay. So if I put that back, yeah, yeah. So I've built a lot of software. I just don't build this sort of software. I'm not a I haven't been a big fan, I'll say, of Razor, Blazor so far. Streamer cards. So if I add a reference to the components, now on the client, can you specify on this side of things? Can you specify that everything will be render mode client or render mode? However, oh, now you're having issues. Not out of the box. No, I didn't ask for anything. I'm not a fan of doing the key cloak thing though. That's the thing. I don't want to do the key cloak thing. So that will be interactive WebAssembly. Let's go with that. Let's see. So the only real option I see is to put our own identity in here, and that's messy unto itself. Okay. Basically, if you create a Blazor project with identity and interactive audit tool, you see a clear separation between what goes in client and what goes in web. So basically, restart the project. Awesome. Um, oh, that's quite different. Oh, okay. That was impressive. Does that do that every time? Magic debugger init function and crash. Is that because my stuff crashed? I don't need to do this right now. I need to get the other pieces in there, so I'm not particularly panicked about this piece. It's quite interesting. Oh, there you go. That gets that. What is this doing? Okay, let's not panic about that. Create a Blazor project with identity and interactive. I was a bit distracted. If it isn't an item too distracting, can you describe why you think you need to explicitly indicate the render mode for this component? I was tinkering. I was trying to learn. I was trying to figure out why, but I don't really need to care right this second. Why that? So doing that, obviously, now I get the client version of it, right? This works. But if I don't do it, this works because it's being rendered on the server. I was just testing to see if what that did. So I don't need to, but I don't want to worry about that right this second. I do not care. I can worry about render modes and stuff later. That can come much later. You don't have to start the project over after verify this, but you can scaffold identity after creating a new project. If not, then it's relatively easy to just create a new project and copy the login bits over. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do this. So I was just tinkering to learn the difference. And Give Fudge, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So, okay. Let me start that back up. Now it's there. So the goal with this project is to first to help promote developers who stream, right? I have a domain, developers.stream, and I have a site there from 5 years ago when I started the idea, and I just never completed what I'd envisioned. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how to tackle this, and I decided to use a bunch of technologies that I don't normally use for the experience, share it as an open source project for the experience for others to join in on. And the goal is to create a site where you can register if you are a streamer. There's no point in registering if you're not, but you can do. Then link your YouTube on Twitch or the other platform accounts in, and then promote yourself through a decent description of yourself, use some tags. It'll also promote which platforms you're using and allow people to see when you're live, etc. Ultimately, searching for streamers is not easy on Twitch. Discoverability is hard if you're just streaming to one person, or you're not streaming to any people. You just sat there doing your thing, but you want to find more people. Um, um, then that's the goal. So what we need to do is create identity. Now, if this was me alone, I would probably go with adding in something like Auth0. However, the intent of it being an open source project means I can't go integrating with third-party services, because then I put a burden on everybody else to consume that third-party service. That's not fair. So we'll have to build the identity pieces enough. There are options. We could use something like Keycloak, but I don't think that's very wise either, because it's a lot more integration and a lot more mess to have to deal with. And we can learn that later, if need be. I say something like Keycloak, because I'm sure there are other alternatives. Sounds cool. I wasn't trying to charge you. Oh, I'm good. As I mentioned, I wasn't fully paying attention. You know, I support whatever you're choosing to do to learn more, but I wanted to indicate if you were planning on doing per component render modes, that if you continue keeping your server client logic separate, you shouldn't have to be concerned with render modes. Yeah, I was wanting to see it fire the HTTP request. So I get it. I figured that it was based on how I built the application, and that it's useful if you're embedding it in something, or you decide to do that. Yeah. So yeah, it was yeah. Merlin, hello, how you doing? Welcome in. So let's have a look. Let's see what new solution. Web, Blazor web app, individual authentication. Dev, prototypes, Blazor. New window. Okay, I'll drag it over here for right this second, have a quick look through, and then we'll see what it does, and then see if we can't rebuild that. It should be easy. We should be able to turn some features on. As always, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions about what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in. You're more than welcome to share. I don't do a great job of relaying what I'm thinking necessarily, so my intent might not always be obvious. Things I will point you to for the identity project are persisting authentication class and the persistent authentication class. Oh my goodness me. It comes with like OIDC stuff. Persisting authentication class and the persistent authentication class. Show where these are. Okay, so application user. Wikiboro. Hello, how you doing? Get for double shift. Yeah, yeah. No. Interesting how vastly different it is based upon what you choose. Blazor with auth also. Individual auth. Auto. I did pick auto. That was auto. So again, if you're joining me, I'm an experienced developer who is relatively new to the world of Blazor. Right, I've tinkered over the years. I have not really got my head around the whole Blazor concept entirely. So, and I build, so on other days on stream, this is a Monday, Friday stream project. On the other days on stream, I build an application for project management and planning using Angular and a large server-side stack of technologies. You're always more than welcome to join in, always able to ask questions. Let's have a look. I don't believe those files are in here at all. Pardon me. Yeah. No, not in there. The persisting, revalidating, authentication state provider should have been in the app that doesn't have the client components account here. Yeah. Identity revalidating authentication state provider. So that's the new one, I assume. Server-side authentication state provider that revalidates the security stamp for the connected user. Every 30 minutes, an interactive circuit is connected. And the other one was, yeah. Yeah. So we got the user accessor. Now, is it possible to add auth? Nothing is in here. Pardon me. Nothing is in here other than that. And layout. And that's one of my big challenges with Blazor so far. Things changing quite drastically between versions. Means if I go looking for documentation on how to do identity in Blazor, I'm not going to find a lot about this. I'm going to find about persisting authentication, aren't I? Like I get API changes being necessary. Not debating the need. But that's a drastic shift between two versions. And that's been my problem with Blazor since day one. Like, oh, we don't like that way of doing it. Let's just do it this way now. And the thing is, it's not a horrible attitude to take because it's for the good of the project, right? It's a good attitude. It's just the fact that the documentation isn't always there to back it up, and the help isn't always there to understand the difference, and because a lot of information gets out there in searches in all sorts, then yeah. Okay. What's this now, Mojo? So this is OIDC client. This is not using that stuff. OIDC. Is this assuming that there is an OIDC server configured? No. Yeah, so the minimal API is working as the JWT. Yeah. So just create a new .NET 9 Blazor web app with all scaffolded, and I'm definitely seeing the persistent classes. What? Okay, let's try again. Um, all good. Open Explorer, dev, prototypes, Blazor, Blazor with auth. Okay, so new solution, web, .NET 9, Blazor, Blazor with auth, Blazor web app, auto, server and WebAssembly, per page component, include sample page. Let's remove include sample pages to make individual authentication. Is that reasonable? Is that not the same? I get that you're creating in .NET, but the templating should be the same. Uh, global, interactivity global. Okay, let's do that. So either the template that Rider is using is off, or newer. There's also that option. Microsoft don't always update their templates. Rider is bad, probably. Why do we assume Rider's bad? What's wrong with the Aspire template? Okay, so let's have it like this. What? Start doesn't create a solution. I created a Aspire project. You're suggesting that doesn't have a solution in it. Um, or what's the other one? Persisting authentication. Great. I created an Aspire project. I didn't add a spire afterwards that I remember. Although I tend to have an approach of creating the solution before I create projects in it, so that I don't have to mess, so I can structure it properly and don't have to move things around. So in the documentation, let's have a look. So this is the revalidating server authentication state provider, a base class that receives an authentication state from the host environment and revalidate it at regular intervals. What's the other class we're looking for? Hey Sally, how you doing? Some of my JavaScript code I went into templates and edited stuff so tests would run properly as a default. Yeah. Persisting, 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 persisting. Authentication. State provider. Yeah, that's the right one. So this looks like it is a .NET. No, applies to older versions. Oh, it was in 8 as well. So maybe it's a busted template. That is very interesting. Or maybe it's a different template. Interesting. Okay. Create a new project. Blazor web app. Oh my goodness, Visual Studio. No, no, I can't really trust this. Oh no, I think I updated it. Blazor web app. The dev prototypes. Blazor solution name. Next. .NET 9. Individual accounts. Auto. Create. Per page component. We saw that didn't make a difference in the one, so I created the same way they'd done this one before. There's a contact still. Identity. Same thing. I wonder if I install, because I installed .NET 9. Oh, I wonder if it's... No, our tooling wouldn't be different. Our templating wouldn't be different. But either way, Visual Studio still creates the same template that Rider does. Individual accounts, yeah, that's what I just selected. You got what? You got .NET 8 LTS there, right? I'm on .NET 9. Yeah. So you get a persistent authentication state provided under the clients. I get nothing of the sort. Well, that's what we're trying to determine, right? Is there some sort of difference in the tooling? So, okay, if if the template is different, right, then my questions are going to be that's interesting. My questions are going to be off. That's my major concern there, right? It's because my I our understanding of what it's doing and how it's doing it is going to differ. Um, that's why I'm focused on figuring out what I've done differently. Now over here, I still have the issue of how the heck do I add identity, right? No, not existing. Not what I was looking for. Add scaffolded item. Identity. There we go. Add identity. Let's see what this does for us. Because this looks like we can pick certain things. Select an existing layout page or specify a new one. Interesting. So we have a new context. For .NET now, we've decided to enable PAR by default if the identity provider's discovery document advertises support for PAR. Is PAR something simple like per application request? Pushed authorization requests. Oh, because it's the polling and makes the. But that's how would that? We haven't enabled an identity provider. We haven't done anything with that. Why would I create a different template than one line? Okay, so developers.stream.web.data. Hold on, is that really going to create that? Is that really going to create that? Yeah. Developers.stream.web.data.developers.stream.web content. Why do I have to specify a data context? Leave empty if it's set in razor view start. Yes, it is. That's fine. Okay, so we need to create a context. Developers.stream. Dot. So it's still similar enough that you can look at the identity revalidating authentication state provider data folder to know what objects to add to your database models, as well as changes needed for the DB context. But you're correct, my understanding is still .NET, but it looks easy to me still. Well, I'm glad it looks easy to you. You're not getting any work done today. I'm sure once I've got I I don't do this in my day to day. I don't. Every system I've ever built or worked with has had custom auth, but it's never been scaffolded through .NET or anything like that. So it's always been hacked in after the fact. So I've never really gone through this and studied the pieces. So it's all still quite alien to me. And then I use Auth0 because I don't like doing this. It's fine. I will get it. It's just I've got to uh, do the research, right? Yeah. You get your work done. I'm not genuinely asking for that. Okay, so let's see what it does. Developers.stream.web content. So let's just do that. All right. User class. Um, application user. Web areas identity data. Where's menswear? Nope, nope. He's getting called menswear from now on. Developers upstream web content. Let's see what this does. The worst happens is I roll back, right? So we had this, we had identity. The hilarious thing here will be if it creates the stuff that one line was mentioning and doesn't actually create the new stuff. Now, this is annoying because I don't. This puts the two things together, but I wouldn't want the two things together. I would want the data pieces to be in my infrastructure. Not copy. Unable to copy. Awesome. So did you just go wrong? Yes, you completely rolled back. Oh, because it's running. You dingaling. What? Pages, layout, main layout. Like, I want the auth DB context. I don't mind having a different DB context for auth. That's perfectly valid to me. That makes perfect sense. Having a separate DB context. Add. So you can't add scaffolding to this. This doesn't support scaffolding, right? So it's not like I can add it on any other project but this. Oh, that's horrible. It made all the changes. That's probably going to do too much. Oh, add SQL Server. It doesn't have support for PostgreSQL. Roll back. Guess we muddle through this. We figure it out. So we right click, add scaffolded name. Go down here, identity, create a new context. Developers.stream dot auth db context. We application user. Add. So this is forcing me. Hi, Findle. How you doing? An error occurred during the requested operation, possibly due to an unsaved or external modifications to the project file. Awesome. Doing good, doing good. How about yourself? You recovering? don't think I asked on Friday. Using SQL Server by default. Support for ASP.NET was added to your project. Okay, so identity be context. Oh, that's awesome. What did you do? Adds identity. Adds that. So I can make it use. Can I pull these pieces out though? Um, Cloud AI. Cloud. This didn't. Oh, this did an even worse job. That didn't scaffold out anything, did it? That just totally broke. You know, the defaults the auth context gives you. Right now, I'm not liking an awful lot. This is going disastrously. Roll back. It kind of did some of the changes. It kind of put pieces in there. Delete. Roll back. Let's see. Delta is embracing our AI overlords. Man. Ever since I decided to not to write all my blog articles with just AI, I've been using it more and more. I would say thank you to AI because I like to be kept around after the takeover. Yeah. It's fine. Okay. So, I want to try something. What I want to do is I want to create this part. I can create the migration later, but if I create this part and this part, right? Nothing says I can't do that. I want to see how it, because I kind of want to add it in infrastructure. Now, do I create infrastructure.auth or do I just create infrastructure? Let's do it. Let's just do it separately for right a second. We can always come back around on this and change things up. Developers.stream.infrastructure auth. Da, 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 da. Yes. And did I really create that console app even when I was looking at it? Okay. Um, Contacts, auth, db context. DB context options, auth DB context, options, identity DB context, options. Let's do this. So for this, we need entity framework core. I'm trying to see if I can scaffold out some of the pieces beforehand, but I don't believe it's going to let me select these things. But we'll see. Microsoft dot identity star. Nope. What's the one? ASP.NET Core identity. Okay, that's fine. Well, why does that need? Is that really part of ASP.NET Core yet? Microsoft ASP.NET Core identities on 230. Okay. Isn't that how? Depends on identity. 901. Let's have a look. Let's find out. That's fine. That's fine. And then we go and we're going to have. So in this case, it's not a domain, it's an, say, application user, identity user. I like Studio's package stuff more, especially its fourth tab where it tells you which packages don't match. Yeah, Rider does that in here, upgrade packages. So if I remove that and go that, it gives me a big list and tells me all the ones that are, what versions are out. So I can update them and align them. Yeah. So that's that. Now, the problem is that wouldn't work for auth because I can't select. So I'd have to, hold on. If I add a reference to that, right? Now, so I'm using this as a chance to learn, right? I'm trying to see if I can piece some of these things in and control the output so I don't have to end up having a bunch of stuff. So if you go and let it scaffold a whole load of stuff that you don't understand, there's a greater chance of stuff being left in there that just you don't understand how it's being used. So you just leave there forever. And I don't like that path. It don't feel too good. So if we do this, there we go. It knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's selected them for me. It doesn't now need to create them. So let's add that and see what happens now. Dot error, dot error, dot error, dot error, dot error, dot error, dot error. I'll do the migrations. Oh, better. Hi, Musin. How you doing? Okay. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrect. Hope you are well. Connection string, use SQL Server. Worry about this in a second. See, this still doesn't add those pieces in. It adds the pages in. Right, so we've got all those pages now, so that all worked. Not bad, not bad. We've got our auth context stuff in there. We can use this. We can remove. Will it let me use anything? See, I don't want to use SQL Server. I want to remove SQL Server. Let's find out. And then we can do the same thing here. Do we want auth in the same world? I don't know, but we'll find out. Why are you complaining? What are you complaining about? Layout. Oh, is that because I didn't select a layout? That doesn't exist, does it? Shared layout. So if you are new to the stream, if you are just joining me, what I'm trying to build is an application for helping to promote and discover streamers, developers who stream, whether it be game dev or app dev or whatever, whether it be YouTube, Kick, or Twitch, or any other platforms that are available, right? I want to be able to offer the ability for the logging into them and linking your account so that then people can find you on here. It's not a scraper. It's not intended to be a go out and find all the streamers and promote them without their attention. It's meant to be a community thing. So you choose to sign up and you choose to remove yourself. One of the aspire samples uses PostgreSQL and Blazor, but that's the extent of my knowledge. Okay, so we need to create the migrations here. So I created configuration for migrations. Let's see if I can do add migration, add all components, migrations project, start project. I think we might need to change this up a bit. Yeah. I have swapped it out. I just need to get the migration working now. But the problem is this hasn't created, so the adding identity does not add any of these pieces, right? It doesn't add them at all. So all we have now is the pages and the user. So we don't get any of these identity revalidating authentication state providers. This is all different. So we're going to have to figure out what that is. Now we've got all the pages, which is great, but yeah. Identity. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be what I want it to be, is it? I think this is going to break things in ways I don't want them to work, to do it. I think I should probably roll that back once more. However, let's add Let's add infrastructure auth. Let's add that. Let's add. I think I added most of it. Infrastructure auth. Yeah, let's commit that. So we have application user auth db context and the CS proj. How do I sign up? That's the part we're working on. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lay the groundwork for the application, and then it will become fully open source so people can contribute and whatnot. I don't want to lose track of the core components and the general idea too soon. So yeah, introduce infrastructure auth library for auth context. Commit. Okay, now let's roll all this back. Come on. Now we roll all this back again. Back from getting my coffee. And the statement about the .NET 9 scaffold store from the new project being understandable to me was meant to say that I'm pretty sure you'd be able to understand it with relative ease by looking at the pieces. Still don't really want to call the non-client project server and the client projects. Yeah. Yeah. My problem has always been the context, understanding where I am, and I don't, maybe I just don't get those pieces, right? Okay, so that happened. It still created DB context in here, by the way. I just noticed that. Even though we created, oh, dang it. Where did it go? Did I still roll back? No, I just didn't add it back in there. Okay. So there's our auth DB context. That's fine. And our application user, that's fine. So when I've got to this in the past, when I've got to these state provider things, I don't often have to deal with them. And then when we get to Blazor and we have this am I server, am I client thing, and getting my head around that when I'm not a client-side developer, I don't like this world. I like to be in the server where I can control data, I can move things around, I can program whatever I want to do, move data around. I don't have to worry about the way it looks or the way it's presented, etc. This is not the fun place for me. So I get stressed and I don't like to get too involved with it because it's so time consuming. I realize it's important. I realize that I've got to do it, but I kind of muddle through on the basics rather than worrying about digging too deep and understanding all the ins and outs of it all, because it just doesn't entertain me. And if I'm streaming that, that's going to be a problem because it's going to show quick. If I start yawning a lot, yeah, just know that I am bored. That's what that means. I'm bored and I'm frustrated and I don't want to do it anymore. But this project is about more than that, and I will persist. Because the project is about helping others, give others an established application that they can go off and tinker with and learn from and do other things with. So I have to keep my eye on the ball, right? That's the point. Okay, so that's committed. Let's added infrastructure .auth project. Okay, if I have to roll this back, I have to roll it back. right? Um, would it help if you just consider the client project to be a component library, and if you code the components in a way that it's just presentation layer concerns, it might be easier. Don't even think about render modes at that point. Just abstract to where the data gets and set a. I'm with Mojo. um, so yeah, I get the whole separation of the actual. Like, we've got the facade. What I've called adapters there is essentially the facade, I suppose. Um, I get that. I get the abstracting it behind there. What am I doing here? So what I'm trying to do. Okay, so it asked me about layout. Okay, so when I go to scaffold, I think this is going to create a different behavior. So if I go to scaffolded item and go here, it starts with select an existing layout page or specify a new one. Leave empty if it is set in Razor view start file. Well, it's not, is it? I'm not setting anything in view start file. So what's my layout page? And it says select, but um, is that components layout? Main layout Razor, is that it? No. Specify a path to an existing or new CSHTML file. So what is that file that it's talking about? There is no CSHTML file. What is it talking about? Okay, let's go back over here. So in this one, it puts it at a components account level, and then oh, this is totally different. This is not the same thing. Add identity core. Yes, I've reverted. I've gone back. I've decided that it's just the way it's going to be from now on. Okay. This doesn't make sense though. Add scaffolded item identity. Can I just do that and say I'm going to override it all? Areas identity pages. Override existing files. But that doesn't create that in areas. I hate that I can't select a different instance. That creates it in components. So almost something about all the health pages and logic only ever being rendered on the server. Hey Zons, how you doing? I mean, okay. I'm struggling with OAuth. I'm struggling with getting to the point where I need to struggle with OAuth. Um, we have the option of wiping this out, right? It's not like we've got massive investment in the styling. Well, it's what I did in Liquid Sky. I used Auth0. right? You authenticate with Auth0, and then we do authorization in backend pieces. Um, using, I mean, every time I come near auth, it becomes, I think, becomes a little bit like a support group in that um, uh, um, you realize that a lot of people understand the things they understand, and then there's other like, there's a lot of stuff still to get to. Um, I don't think if I wiped it out, it would be any better though. That's the problem. Let's run this. Let's see what this looks like. Wasm app host. Use static web assets. Runtime config. Cannot find runtime config. Um, that one. Let's start that one. Debug. Edit. Default system browser. I tried to run the client. Wasm app. Welcome to our new app. That is stunning. I am so glad that you let me scaffold out that application. And you, yeah, I suppose I said don't use the sample pages. So what's the point of all those pages? Lying. No external authentication services configured. Register as a new user. Bob. Bob at example.com. Ooh. Login. My hands are cold. That's my excuse. Um, Two approaches to scaffolded identity in .NET apps. Razor pages, which use areas identity, etc. with or Blazor server, which uses components identity, etc. and Razor components. That's fantastic. Um, right, so it looks like I don't have the option. So this is Razor pages though. The default template then is Razor pages, right? Well, no, this is a components account. This is Blazor server. Okay, so this is Blazor server and Razor components. Okay, sorry. So if I try and scaffold it, it's going to try and add Razor pages. I don't get this. I don't get the choice. But I want Blazor server. Just got to go here. go here. So I'm on, the thing is I'm on Blazor server. Hold on, let's see if I do add there. This isn't giving me scaffolding either. No. Only this gives me scaffolding. Add scaffolded item. MVC, API, MVC, razor page, identity. Yeah, this is assuming a lot. We had a reference to infrastructure author. When I do that, it will do. Yeah, so it knows my context is there. That's fine. That I'm okay with. However, this creates razor pages. Yeah, so I have no choice there. Unless there's a tool set for it. What is that? Scaffold identity, Blazor, and MVC, scaffold identity. Okay, well, hold on. Let's do this. There's one thing that I said I should do. Being that most people are not going to be using Rider, I should also be making sure this works fine in Visual Studio. Tools. Oh, come on. Tools, options. We gotta size that font down a little bit. I can't. Where are you? General, dark, environment. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's been a while. Environment, fonts and colors, text editor, 17. Oh, that made such a difference. There could be some new benefit in using your new Blazor solution to copy other files little by little to learn how it's put together. That's what I'm doing to create a separate. Afternoon, Mr. Jones. But I mean, okay, I get the idea there, but I'm not sure how that necessarily helps me understand the components more. All right. I'm just going to copy this directory straight over. The data stuff I'm not going to touch. In tables. So that creates all those. Ugh. ASP.NET users. We have Bob. Bob. Oh, okay. So that's the identity piece. Authentication. Adding in the state provider. Right. Authentication, state serialization. My problem is I don't understand how those things are working. So adding them in, like, again, revalidating, like, I read through this code the first time, right? I'm not server-side authentication state provider that revalidates the security stamp for the connected user. I don't know what a state provider is. I mean, I can guess on what a state provider is, but it's like, how does it tie in? What does it do? And this is my problem, right? I mean, I could go off and start reading about authentication state and Blazor. I'm not streaming that. Yeah, but how? If I go down this rabbit hole, I want to understand how, right? I want to understand why the magic, not because it's magic. And that's the thing that's upset me the most about Blazor is that magic, right? That's why I don't enjoy, and it's why I'm avoiding it. I know that the same thing's coming to the client frameworks. I know that SSR stuff is coming to Angular. I know that it's in Next and stuff. And yeah, it's just, it's a rabbit hole, and it's one that is going to take its sweet time. So copying it over, yeah, but I don't understand. I understand the code. The code I can read. Yeah, but you don't want me reading on stream. Miss Granhorn, hello, how are you doing? Yeah, I get the benefit. I'm not debating it online. I really do appreciate the direction and the encouragement. It's identity components, endpoint route builder extensions. endpoint route builder map additional identity endpoints. Link external logging, download personal data. That's an interesting one. Yes, without a doubt. So yeah, I do see the benefits. Like the point of this. Good. Blazor used to not have magic. It was very painful before. Yeah, but now it does have magic, and I don't like the magic because the magic is, where am I? Right? Which way is up? Okay, so we did that. So let's go over. So I see the point. Okay. Backend infrastructure auth. So we've got our context, right? In our migration service now, we actually need to do a little bit more. We need to build the migrations for. Well, this is interesting. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's fine. Builder dots. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and build the migrations. I'm going to try and use the way it sets it up over here as best I can. The problem comes from, yeah, application DB context. We use this. So add DB context. So we need to add a reference. By the way, the usage of Visual Studio might not last too long. Now, some of it's because of my ridiculous font sizes. I get that. Some of that, it might be because people were saying they couldn't see what I was doing. But Visual Studio is just not as comfortable to work in. Cascading parameters. Parameters that cascade down components. What do we call it? We called it auth DB context. So we're going to add auth DB context. Options. Do we want to create a separate auth DB? I don't think we do. I think we want to put it in the same DB. Will it deal with migrations being in the same place? We're not seeding anything, so that's fine. Okay, so let's see if that works. So we're going to use the same connection string. Let's see if we can create migrations. So we create this migrations project. Add. Oh, there's no tools in here for it. No, I do not want to use command line. No, do not give me command line. No, it's too difficult. Well, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. Hope you are well. We're now going to do a Visual Studio and Rider edit of this project. This should be fun. What could go wrong with this? I'm not going to read the. I'm happy to have for you guys to have a conversation. It's not going to read out. So I'm good with the Blazor education going on while we are chatting. So we add a migration. Migration name is add auth components, right? And we add migration service. I think we need to build the migration service. Build migration service. Okay, so now we should have add migration, add auth components. No, migrations project, start project, migration service. Why do you not recognize both contexts? You have core tools. Uh, blah, blah, blah. Uh, .NET tool update global.NET EF. Okay, there we go. That's done. Okay, so let's go back to here. Migration. I don't think. So we added another context. This is going to be interesting because I think we're going to have to create two of these. Well, we don't. Program CS, we can add that. I don't think we need to do the initialize to get the migration to work. That should be fine. This should recognize authDB. Like if we do add entity framework or add migration, why are you not adding it? Because what's going to happen is the DB context is identified inside of there, and I should be able to select the authDB context and add the migration. Migrations. It should work. Pretty sure it should. I'm pretty sure we got it so that this migrations project will do what it needs to do. Interesting. So why doesn't that? I don't think that has def entity framework core. That's the only thing we need there. Packages, entity framework core, identity, etc. That's fine. That's for those extra pieces. Got a reference to the project. And we are trying to build the context outside of the else, so that should be fine. Developers.stream.migrations is the migrations assembly. So we should. I don't see any difference in migrations using the same connection string. That should still function. We are using multiple DB contexts, but it's not picking up that DB context. I mean, I could be trying to do something here that's completely nutty. But this DB context class should give me the option. Yeah, but I don't want to. Oh, that's interesting. Migrations. Hold on. Oh, the projects. There we go. Add a reference to the auth. That'll help. There you go. Now I should be able to do a migration. Include auth. Let's see what happens. No DB context named. Oh, how so? Is that not a DB context? Identity DB context, which is an identity DB context, which is an identity DB context, which is an identity user context, which is DB context. I don't think that's not. I could be trying to push my luck here with the design. In all honesty, I could be trying to. You see how that? You see the way that it listed the DB context. So it's like, I don't know what. Oh, hold on. I selected identity, not auth. It's getting the inheritance initial auth. Hold on. Yes. It was getting the inheritance. So it couldn't create it because I selected an abstract version of it. Yeah. The namespace migrations contains migrations for different DB contexts. This can result in conflicting migration names. It's recommended to put migrations for different DB context classes into different namespaces. Oh, you're no fun. How can it possibly create conflicting names? Oh, you can always mute the stream, right? If the stream's distracting you, that's an option. Okay, so that works. But now our auth context isn't going to be initialized because we've got to do this as well. So if we copy this, initialize auth context worker, add. Now, the problem is we don't have a factory for this one. Nothing says we can't, though. Let's do add pool DB context factory. And then that should work. That's fine. That's fine. Initialize auth context worker. And this is auth DB context. That's that. Then we do that, that. All this stays the same. We just change that. Ugh. You know what? I'm going to simplify this version of it just to clean it up a little bit. And then we're going to go back here. Initialize DB context worker, builder.services.add hosted service, initialize auth context worker. Okay, let's see what happens. The worst happens is we roll back, right? But we should be able to go in and see the ASP.NET users created. Then we'll worry about copying the pages over. Now, what it was warning me about before is I'm using two different DB contexts. They're using the same database, so they should be fine. And I don't want to merge the identity in with our application context, because if we're, they could be set up differently. Even if they're in this, they're pointing to the same physical database. I don't think there's a problem with that. The challenge will become if the migrations overlap or the names break it. So we can only really change one at a time. So the app is up and running. Let's go to the app. Let's go to the dashboard. Pull that over here. So now let's go to the Postgre. Right. No, it didn't work. Did not work. So the streamers table's there, but the migrations for the auth context did not run. Let's bring up that again. Console migration. Yeah. Apply migration initial auth. It didn't fail. It said it ran initial auth. Initial auth. Sorry, I should be really trying to do this over here. Visual Studio is not natural to go to anymore. It does seem about simplifying the end, and it goes to make it easy to add a project that wasn't scaffolded using individual auth. I believe it is. Instead of creating the serializing and deserializing classes yourself, you can now simply call the two methods respectively on the server and on the client to sync the authentication state. Uh, your gamer must have been a beast at popcorn reading. I was so bad. What do you mean? What's popcorn reading? I don't understand that term. Um, so migrations. It says it ran this, but if we look at the database, unless this is cached in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't run any extra migrations. Now, the clever thing here would be to create a second database, right? It would be to, rather than do this, it would be to create a separate entire database so that we don't end up with the overlap. I just don't like the idea of having two separate databases created. I don't know how to explain it. In school, students would take turns reading paragraphs in book. The student who just read would choose the next student to read. Ah, we never did that. We always did the get assigned by the teacher who was reading. Also, very bad at standing up reading. I was a shy kid. Anyway, what's the best way to do this? The best way to do this is to revert all this again. Roll back. Roll it all back. Let's get rid of it all. Get out of here. Okay. So I think what we do is we go in here and we add another database, right? Var auth Postgres DB equals add auth. Can we do dot with reference auth and wait for auth? Right. So we build two databases, right? Then in here, our migration service, we still do the second setup. We still do the other pieces. The piece I just wiped out, and yeah. DB add pooled. Sorry, my hands are cold. The dog's knocked the door open and I didn't get up and add pool DB context factory. Now this is auth DB context, right? You can reference that. Again, I apologize for being in Rider. I'm just more used to some of these toolings right this second, so it's going to be quicker for me to do what I'm trying to do in the time. Because if you remember at the start of the stream, I actually said I need to make sure that I take 5 minutes at the end of the stream to note what we've done and what we're about to do so that I don't lose context. Options.use npgsql, and we just need to get this, and this is auth now, right? I'm not messing around with blurring the lines because again, the point of this is I know you're joking. I know. The point of this is to be using GitHub eventually, which will feel very alien. Okay, so we need to copy this again, like we said. Whoa. And this is initialize auth context worker, right? Add that. This is going to be an auth DB context. That's going to be that. We're going to remove this one because we never actually use it. I'm going to remove that one. This is going to be DB context factory. Probably missing keyword. Oh, did I just blur the lines? Oh, initialize auth context worker. I blurred the lines a little bit there. Okay. That's that, that's that, that's that, that's that. Okay. So now we need to add the job. Initialize auth context worker. Okay, so we need migrations to reference infrastructure.auth. Right, it references infrastructure, which is what's got the original context. So the idea is that the migrations all live in here. So now we go entity framework called add migration, auth DB context. We're going to create a folder for auth migrations initial, right? That should keep them separate. That should stop it warning us about having different contexts. There we go. So now we have migrations and auth migrations in the same library. It ran because this migration service is what configures that. So now let's see if we get two databases when we start up and we can switch between them. Then we'll finish up and review. Now, some of these streams are going to go this way. They're going to go struggle stream wise. I know that it's going to be part of it, and I'm going to do things that probably aren't going to be very logical all the time. That's again just part of what I'm trying to do. Okay, so the migrations ran. So if we go back to here, there's our auth DB, there's our ASP.NET users. Okay, that's awesome. And we can go developers in stream and so close, so close. The migrations didn't run for that one. So these ran, this one didn't. Okay. So let's commit that. Added migration for auth. I know that it's not working, and I know that it's bad practice to commit broken code, right? But I don't want to lose it, and I don't want to lose track of where we were. Added migration for auth, introduced worker service to run migration for all the components. Migration for normal DB failed. So I am going to push it. Yes, that is not a great practice. You know, don't do as I do. However, that means that that's not on my machine. If something goes wrong, I've still got that code. We are working towards making it work, so that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a scratch. A new scratch file is markdown. Markdown is a scratch. This one's going to be called Where We Are. So on 210, I've added auth DB context, created migration, and set up services. The original migration doesn't seem to want to run. Might need to create a combined job to run both. Move files from example Blazor auth project see if we can't get login to work. Okay, so that's where we're going to be on Friday. So Friday 2 14. Yeah, so that's where we need to be. Okay, that's that. Again, if you're interested, you want to ask more questions, if you have opinions and thoughts you want to share that you're not really comfortable sharing on the stream, you're more than welcome to join the Discord. It's linked in the cards below. Again, I will not be here tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment to attend, so I cannot. And that is at an hour and 20-minute drive away at 8:40 PHP. Why are you swearing? Okay, but okay, yeah, he didn't troll me today. He was playing nice. Interesting. I think scratches are global, aren't they? Yeah, they are. They are. They're global. That's interesting. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow. We will continue on with some of this tomorrow and get this done. In the meantime, you know, I'm gonna drop you on Fritz for right this second. He's just starting up, but I've got to run. I will be back Wednesday. Don't forget, it is Monday. One Line Normal streams on a Monday. He's a fantastic .NET developer. If you want to see someone who knows what they're doing in Blazor, I would highly recommend checking out his stream. Yeah, so that's me for today. I will be back on Wednesday. Sorry, with Liquid Sky, which is Angular and a whole lot of other different technologies. So let's go raid C# Fritz, and I will see you again soon. Take care all. Bye.